Hey, it's the British Blues Electric Show, and what's today? It's Sunday where I am, Saturday where you are.
No. It's Sunday where I am.
Oh, okay, all right. It's okay. It's these Canadians that we've had on over the last couple of weeks that puts my time zones all over the place. So we're both Sundays. That's right. We're only 12 hours apart.
I'm only
Welcome.
just Sunday, and could I say we have yesterday was the longest day of the year.
Wow.
The shortest night. So it's been light for about 4 hours. Yeah. So it didn't get dark till kind of, I don't know, 10:30, and then the sun's up at 3 kind of thing, 3:30. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's big celebrations down at Stonehenge, the summer solstice.
Fantastic.
Celebrations. I think they close it off. I don't think they, but certainly this year they have with all the with the troubles. They've that's what I'm after.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to this
Sunday morning.
This week's show. I look forward to catching up with our special guest, and hopefully we'll be receiving a notification from him in the chat. I'm fascinated with Greatvannzinni, Simon. I'm fascinated. So I'm looking forward to having him on so that we can talk a bit of gear. I know that we don't talk a lot of gear on our shows, and that's okay because our deep diving seems to be touching a nerve, and that's certainly something that I'm personally more interested in. But doing a bit of gear talk now and again,
it's part of it, isn't it? We did the Keith Richards tuning stuff with Chad. That was really good. Yeah, really enjoyable, really good. I don't mind deep diving stuff, but don't ask me which digital delay pedal to get, because I don't really know.
Yeah. So Greatvannzinni, we're live. We're a little bit earlier
in the chat.
Than
good morning.
We're a little bit earlier than I said that we would be on the email. So if you want to jump in anytime you're ready, please do. Simon and I just were just talking before the show. Yeah, we were just talking before the show. So we're looking forward to you jumping on. So we're going to talk a bit of gear with Greatvannzinni. Simon's going to talk a bit of gear. Simon's got a couple of things that he needs to talk about, and I think probably
current items. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's something that we need to probably skirt around and talk about. And I look forward to catching up with Simon later on in the show, because there's a couple of points that we've picked up on from the last week's show on Bobby Whitlock and Derek and the Dominoes, which as Bobby releases some of these videos, the information that we're going to get's bloody gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, an insider's view of things is a completely different thing to what it's. It's a complete. The first thing is obviously you get an insider's view, not an external view. 2, you get, and history is written from the viewpoint of several people, not one.
Sure.
And if you've only got Eric's view of it, you only have Eric's view of it.
Which is not much.
Will be it's not much, but also it'll only be, if you're looking back on it 50 years later, it's going to be not perfect, isn't it? We're all our memories are imperfect, and we make things up to suit, our own narrative and things. And good morning, Kubrick Lover, 1972. How you doing? Hope you're good.
Hey, Kubrick.
And so I think that that having another viewpoint on those things is important and and really interesting. To have somebody else's viewpoint of those sessions and the way they went, and his Bobby Whitlock's view of those things and his position in them and things is really interesting. It makes you look at them in a different way, doesn't it? Very different.
Oh, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Simon. What I like about the videos that they're releasing that Coco is producing on behalf of him. They're not long. They're 5, 10, 15 minutes. I think 15 minutes is the longest.
Yeah,
They
well,
are subject related, and he is offering some little information that we probably weren't aware of. Is it worth talking about that now, Simon, while we're on the subject then, about what you saw in Bobby's one earlier in the week? Is it worth talking about it now?
Yeah. Whichever end I find it. Yeah, I mean, the thing that interested me, the thing that sort of took me back, we were just discussing this, but was that what he said about Dwayne Allman, which was that basically, and you back me up on it, that, but Dwayne Allman wasn't much of an improviser. What he needed was parts. He needed to play parts, and just sticking him up there and going, not, didn't seem to work in a. So now, which amazed me, because I think of the Allman Brothers as being like a jam band. Yeah, I don't know if I presume you do too. That seems to be the general consensus. The Allman Brothers, Grateful Dead, they're all jam bands. And I haven't had a chance to go back and look at it, but I'm really keen to go back and look at it with the fresh eyes of saying, how much of this is actually worked out? And the one thing that did occur to me was as soon as you have twin guitars, you have to work it out. You can't just play things and then I've got to try and guess where you are and play a harmony line or something like that, because it just isn't going to work, is it? And then I thought to myself, well, maybe it is a lot more worked out than I think it is, and maybe, that what we consider to be improvisation and jamming is not improvisation and jamming. It is carefully worked out. We're going to do, I don't know, 60 to 24 bars of this, and then I'm going to do this, and you do that, and then we're going to do that for 24, or we're going to do that 3 times or 5, whatever it is, 4 times, and then we're going to go to somewhere else, and it means that, in a sense, I have a greater admiration for that in some ways, because if you've got a 7-minute song and you've got to remember all the parts, that's bloody hard, if you've got to remember, I've got to play this, I don't know, 10-note lick, run 4 times, and I've got to go to another 8-note run, whilst he's doing that over there, that kind of I've got to remember when to do that, and then and then he's going to play something else, and then, that actually it's much more worked out than I thought, than I kind of naively imagined.
I was fascinated by that comment, because clearly Bobby's not putting Dwayne Allman down, but
No.
it's what he's saying, I think, that we have to focus on. He said that Dwayne Allman was a session musician. He was a session musician. He had to have things worked out. So you're right, Simon. So I think the jam perspective that we think that you were mentioning before is completely different from him or a band going into the studio. And this is where I don't think we've got the full story about Tom Dowd's role in that album, because we all know that he was the producer. But how much producing did he actually do, Because to take your argument further, so they had 4 songs, according to Bobby Whitlock, already recorded. Okay, without Dwayne Allman. They had 4 songs recorded in the can, all ready to go. Dwayne Allman comes in and he plays his wonderful slide over a couple of songs. So who worked that out for him? Bobby.
Yeah.
Is Bobby Whitlock not telling us that he worked that out?
I think what happens is that Dwayne Allman comes in, he works out a part, and then he plays it. Yeah, he listens to the track, works it out. And if he's, if he's played with people like Aretha Franklin and Wilson Pickett and stuff like that, he'd be a good, he'd be really fantastic about going, here's a part, and being able to replicate that part. Yeah, again, it won't be, play something different every time, which is what, you hear that a lot, don't you? About A lot of musicians don't never play the same thing twice.
So what's Bobby Whitlock then? If Dwayne Allman is a session musician, what's Bobby Whitlock and Eric Clapton?
Well, in fact, they are the nucleus of, you think it's easy to think of Derek and the Dominoes as being Eric's band, yeah? But actually, I don't think that's true.
No.
What we're getting is a much more rounded view of the internal dynamic of that. And Bobby and Eric wrote the songs together,
Big time.
and together. And when I together, I mean together, that kind of thing. And they sorted out stuff together. And I guess that Bobby did quite a lot of that myself. The arranging, the what went here and when people did that. So I think that Dwayne Allman's thing, coming in and sprinkling the fairy dust, is about coming into a very structured, organized set of sessions. You can't record an album in 2 weeks and for it not to be organized. Yeah, because that's what it was. It was a couple of weeks, wasn't it, in Miami? That you cannot record an album that fast like that unless you're organized. Yeah, if you go in with nothing, those bands that go into the studio with nothing and record everything and then sift through it to kind of work out, if there's and take out the good bits and kind of expand on, stuff like that.
Do you want to hold that thought?
Yeah.
Do you want to hold that? Because we've been gate crashed. we've been gate crashed.
The gate crashed this party. Good morning.
Well, I've done my homework. I watched all the Bobby Whitlock videos this week, so thought they were extremely really informative and interesting and all that. So
we were. I don't know if we were just talking about his comment about Dwayne Allman not being the great improviser. And actually having...
I totally missed that.
Did you know? Well, Andrew and I caught it. It was just, it wasn't really... But I was saying just now that the interesting part is, I think of, I'm sure most of us think of, the Allman Brothers as being a great sort of jam band. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then, but what I got from that was that actually what they do is a lot more worked out than kind of it might first appear. And then it occurred to me that as soon as you have twin guitars, then you have to work stuff out. Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot, it would be very difficult to constructively do jamming, when you don't know what the other person's going to play. If you've got to play together, that two guitars thing, you can't afford to be, you've got to go, well, I'm going to play this for 24 bars, and then you play that, and then we're going to move to this bit, and we're going to have another section of whatever. And I haven't had a chance to go back and look at that Allman Brothers stuff today live at the Fillmore.
I think you can. Yeah, I just listened to that a while back, actually. But I think you can get away with a little of it. You take the first lead, and I'll take the second lead. But it's when, as in like Derek and the Dominoes, it's when you're both playing at the same time,
Yeah. You've got to work out what you're doing. And we were saying that it comes from Dwayne being a session musician, playing for Aretha Franklin, wordsmithing, and all that, all those sessions. That what you need parts. Those tracks needed. Hello, time to wake up.
No, that's needed. That's time to check in here, actually.
Yeah, that's how we are. That you needed parts. You needed parts, and the kind of was it? Boy, he talked about him getting him up on stage, didn't he? And they got him up twice, and it wasn't very good.
Oh gosh.
That's what Bobby Whitlock's view was, that it wasn't very good. He didn't. I like that picture. Just past grade 5 music theory with a picture of Eric Clapton and Dwayne Allman underneath. They are. Nice. That's good. But go back. But that I wasn't trying to disparage Dwayne Allman, but saying that in a sense he was good at playing parts. He needed to work it out. He wasn't that good at you know, and obviously if you're doing a straightforward blues song, then that,
Sort of
you know, that's
freeform,
going to
yeah.
work, you know. But freeforming didn't seem to be so good
Yeah.
at, and I was like, as I said to Andrew, Andrew picked that one as well, didn't you, Andrew? It wasn't just me. I was just feel slightly for I imagined it. I did go back and try and look at it to re-listen to it, and of course then I couldn't find it in the videos, which is
Yeah, I was going to say, now I have to go back and I have to find that.
yeah.
See what he said.
But
I did come across, I didn't know if you know, but I just, while looking a few minutes ago before I came on, I found another interview with him from somebody else. Mike Rossi, I think was the name, on Mike Rossi's channel that was like 35 minutes long from about 4 years ago. And so I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but that might be interesting.
Yeah, noted. That's a.
So what
Sorry,
did you
Andrew,
think,
go on.
Greatvannzinni, of the videos on Bobby Whitlock's channel? Was there anything there that sparked your interest, or that contradicted anything that you had read or heard over the years?
Well, not so much contradicted, but I found it fascinating that they all liked really good shirts.
Yes.
They had a whole video on that, you know, and I thought, well,
That's right.
you know, I guess,
Nothing wrong with good shirts.
yeah, nothing better than a good shirt.
I see, Greatvannzinni, you're wearing a good shirt. You see,
I always wear my good shirt. Yeah,
good shirt. Yeah. Whereas I, sadly, am wearing a strange T-shirt with nonsense on it.
Yeah, no, there was nothing there. I mean, I had just not heard his name until you mentioned him, you know, a couple of weeks ago, and I had kind of, you know, I hadn't thought of him for years, you know, and
No.
it was just really good to.
When he describes that, you know, I became a rock star, and then I became not a rock star.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
quickly.
it was a very clear beginning and end, you know.
Yeah,
That was, I guess, that was probably the shocking thing, was that it didn't continue, you know, that there wasn't some.
Well,
I mean, he continued to play and put out some stuff, but you know.
Yeah, but not in the same way.
Not at that level, yeah.
Yeah, we were, the other thing we were discussing that you know, in the past we've pretty much, I've only ever really seen Eric's view of those sessions, and there's the kind of folklore around them, but Bobby Whitlock's view of them is different to the kind of folklore. I mean, the folklore, as Andrew was saying earlier, is one that is kind of drug and drinks fueled and kind of, you know, kind of thing. And actually, the picture is much less of that, and actually, it's about people getting up and getting on with their work. You know, and not messing about. You can't record an album in 2 weeks if you're all out of it all the time. You know, because that isn't going to work, is it? You know, you're just not going to get anywhere.
And as I recall, he talked about the drugs and alcohol kind of more coming in.
Yeah, after for the second, the aborted second album
on tour. Yeah, kind of later on tour. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys mentioned that, because in 1990 they released the 20th anniversary of Layla with the jams and also the outtakes, and with that set came some writing, and I just want to quote from this booklet that came out with that CD set. The loose atmosphere was famously thick with drugs and booze, says Whitlock. We didn't have little bits of anything. There were no grams around. Let's put it like that. Tom couldn't believe the way we had these big bags lying out everywhere. I'm almost ashamed to tell you, but it's the truth. It was scary, and we were doing drugs. I was young and dumb, blah, blah, blah. So again, so who wrote this? Someone's quoting Bobby Whitlock in 1990. You know, did Bobby Whitlock say that in 1990 and then realize actually what I'm saying in 1990 contradicts the truth?
No, that's...
Well, but I think it's not contradicting. But I think there probably was, you know, they might have smoked a joint and stuff and got on with stuff, you know. But the, you know, you have to distinguish between, you know, you record, and then you have a kind of, you go out for a meal and maybe, you know, smoke a joint or whatever, and you know, and chill out a bit and have a few beers and things. you know. But
No,
I
but
don't.
that's not what this is, Simon. Simon, that's not
No,
what this is saying. They were
that's
saying
more an
they're
extreme
saying that
of
they had that in the studio.
ostensible.
They had
Yeah,
bags.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which again contradicts what Tom Dowd said. Tom Dowd said that when these guys were in the studio, they were there in the morning. They were clean shaven, showered.
Eggs and bacon for breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah, ready to roll. Yeah.
And recording, and then what they did afterwards, yeah. But again, it just one of these things that always amazes me about the urban myths that follow bands. And I think that's one of the great things about what we try and do with our show is that, well, okay, so we're trying to draw these threads together. So clearly, like you said, Simon, and we mentioned last week, if these guys are recording this album, they couldn't do it while they were taking drugs in the studio.
Well, that's right. You can't be complete. I mean,
so.
I don't know. I've been in a studio a bit with bands and stuff. I've done a tiny bit myself. But and you cannot. You're in for a short amount of time. You can't afford to be wasted, because if you're wasted, you just won't do anything. Do you? I mean, you're just not going to get anywhere, because huge amounts of drugs are just going to, not. It's not a focusing, organising, situation. That it is an unfocusing, with a party kind of chilling out, getting away from it. Whereas you needed to be on it to be able to do some recording. I know, quite a lot of it's, as they did then, live in the studio, which which says even more, isn't it? Of that you can't be kind of completely wrecked, because otherwise, you look at the Stones recording, and they spend hours kind of mucking about and waiting for, principally waiting for Keith to be, sober enough to, to kind of stand up and play and kind of be in it. And they spent ages, didn't they, Andrew? Recording stuff and kind of not getting anywhere until, then things click in. Famously, that's how the Stones work. And I think that's not. You don't do stuff in 2 weeks if you're going to do that, do you?
No. Greatvannzinni,
No.
you know how you follow a lot of jazz guys and guitarists. Are there any jazz musicians that are well known for, and I don't want to turn this into a drug show at all, but are there any jazz musicians famous for, having, bags of it lying around in the studio when they were recording?
Well, there was, of course, when you go back into even the 40s and the 50s, you hear a lot about jazz musicians using heroin. Whether or not they were doing that when they were recording, though, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
even Louis
Charlie
Armstrong,
Parker, famously. Well, Louis Armstrong famously was a great marijuana smoker, wasn't he?
That's right.
Dope smoker, which
Muggles
I think
and
is.
Griff, yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you used to call it? Muggles and Griff?
Muggles and Griff, yeah.
Fantastic.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
Good. But I was famously Charlie Parker, isn't it?
Yeah.
But who died aged 35 kind of thing,
Yeah.
But so that worked then, didn't it? This kind of. But so, I mean, I think you're right. In the jazz thing, it was very pleasant, wasn't it? Who's the other guy I can think of? That kind of, there's a kind of heroin chic, isn't there? That kind of, but I don't know anything about. I don't think there's any great view that heroin is the great. My understanding of heroin is that is that it's something to take your mind off the pressures of things. I mean, that thing about it wraps you in cotton wool and kind of makes it. Kubrick. I think that's probably true.
Yeah,
Last
I think Kubrick's right on the money there. Yeah.
That actually it is a way of if you like, for want of a better, for taking the voices away in your head, kind of thing. So that it's a way of after you've played and the adrenaline and all of that, and the pressure of doing it, and if people are going, oh, you're fantastic, that is a pressure and all those things. And one of the ways of escaping is to take heroin, but it's not a creative drug. It's not a drug that you can use to be creative with.
You would, all the drug use that we had in the 60s, I never was around heroin. So I don't know. I came around it in alcohol and drug when I worked in alcohol and drug, of course, but and even in mental health.
Am I painting a sort of the right sort of picture of it? Great.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think you know, it wouldn't surprise me if they said they smoked marijuana off and on during the recording and they had some drinks and stuff like that, you know. But I think if you're fully loaded on heroin, that would be a hard. I mean, there are folks out there that just chip away at heroin for years and never fully get addicted. It's
functioning heroin addicts.
Yeah,
yes.
It's very odd. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. Is that really true? I don't know.
I'm told it is. Yeah, a fellow I worked with.
I've read about it.
Well, a couple of people I worked with talked about people who were able to do that, you know, and even as bad as, well, we're getting into drug talk, but methamphetamine, where people could use small amounts of methamphetamine, and they wouldn't be, you know, up on the street corner shouting at traffic, and you know, they were able to maintain it and they were able to stop it. But I think that's. I worked in the mental health community, so that was pretty rare in that group, you know. So.
Well, on a more positive note, Greatvannzinni, I can say that I'm ashamed that I hadn't seen your channel earlier, my friend, when we first hooked up. Simon and I hooked up with you. So while you've spent the week looking over the Bobby Whitlock videos, I've spent the last week looking at some of your videos. So
I appreciate that. I saw your comments there and yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So clearly, always interested in talking to guys about a little bit of gear. Simon's got a couple of things that he wants to have a chat to us about this evening. Okay. He picked up a guitar, a couple of. How long ago was Simon? Was it a month or so ago?
I've had it about 3 weeks. Yeah. I'll go and get it. I'll hang on a second. Just go and get it.
Yeah. But besides the fact that you've got some bloody nice guitars, my friend, I have to tell you that you're playing. Your jazz playing is, my gosh, I have to take my hat off. Sorry.
Thank you.
It's your playing is beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. I truly believe this, that it has far less to do with me than it does to do with the chord structure that's behind me, you know, and it's that chord structure that allows you to get all theoretical here, but it's the chord structure that allows you to play, you know. In my case, if you really study me, you'll find that, he's really a simple kind of guy. He plays 2 or 3 things, and that's a minor pentatonic, a major pentatonic, and then I do major scale stuff off and on and add that in to give it that jazzy sort of.
Do you play Mixolydian?
Yeah, see, I don't do. I always say, you know, Joe Pass and I have one thing in common. I don't do modes. I don't do. But Joe Pass, with regards to that, Joe Pass said something very interesting. He said, I don't do no modes, man. I don't get it. I don't, you know. He said, if I want to emphasize, we're playing a C ninth, and that 9 note or the 7th is the note I want to emphasize, I play a little run from the root up to the 7th, or from the 2 note to the 7th. Well, that's a mode.
Yeah.
Of some sort, you know. He just didn't know that he was doing it. I mean, he was the great expert at it, but he had his own little arpeggios that he used, and that's kind of how he said. So yeah, I mean, I don't remember in the 60s when friends were taking lessons, nobody ever talked about modes. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear the word modes.
Well, we've
maybe
talked
in classical, music. I don't know.
Probably in classical, but I don't know whether they have. I don't know whether they play Mixolydian on a violin, do you, or a cello or something? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I could have asked my dad if he'd been alive. I'll have to. I'll have to conjure him up with a Ouija board and ask. That's really great. Yeah, I don't know, but it seems to me peculiar, as you say. Only guitarists talk about modes, don't they?
Yeah.
And stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if I'm the reason I say that as a joke is because I don't know if I sometimes play along with elevated jam tracks. Have you come across them? Elevator, really good. Nice. Does lots of really nice things to you. 10-minute tracks you can jam over, but he always puts up the mode that the song is in. So he'll put up on the screen the fretboard and then a picture of the Ionian or Mixolydian, whatever it is, mode which fits with it, which is really good fun. Actually, I think it's a really cool idea.
And it's called Elevated
Jam Tracks.
Elevated Jam Tracks. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
really
Arvin.
Good.
Thank you.
Good morning, Arvin. How you doing?
Yeah.
I hadn't spotted you coming in. Sorry, apologies. Paying attention elsewhere.
I didn't either.
Hope you're good. But I think that. So I've been enjoying those, and you can see that each mode is a one note change from the last one.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. And you go, okay, that's all right. I understand how it works. I haven't got my head around it completely, but I do find it, just of interest. I incorporate some of it, a little bit of it in my playing, a bit in kind of things. But
I don't know a thing about them on one hand. On the other hand, I keep my eyes and ears open and see if somebody gives me some little trinket of information that all of a sudden, it.
You have little islands of information.
Yeah,
don't you?
everything.
And the thing is to try and join them up. So
yeah. But I primarily do a lot of chromatics. I do minor, pentatonics, and major mostly, and some major scale stuff.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I do, major and minor, and and I just make it work. I just make it work, and I like the idea that I would know all these different scales and these modes. I like the idea. I've spent a bit of time over the last Christmas break trying to get my head around it. But in all honesty, guys, I just gave up in frustration and just reverted back to what I've been doing. And I'm happy with that.
I think if it teaches you a bit and stuff like that, then that's fine. You take the bits, don't you?
Yeah.
Then...
In my case, I've always been much more interested in chord theory, so even as a bass player. So chords just fascinated me. So
yeah, Arvin, yes, slid in under the 10 flap. That's a lovely comment. That's very good.
It's interesting that you should say that about chords, because that resonates with what Chad was saying a couple of weeks ago about being a rhythm guitar player, getting those chords down and just locking in and just being a rhythm guitarist and working with the bass and with the drums, working with the rhythm section. That takes a bit of time, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's interesting when you talk to a lot of these guys, the established rhythm guys, and they say, all our lead guitarist does is just goes and puts a bit of fairy dust on it, and then
back to the fairy dust.
Yeah.
Well,
but rhythm and bass are great examples. I mean, those guys have to have some sense of everything, to be able to carry that out and to do
as a rhythm guitarist myself, it's that feeling that you lock in with the bass and the drums, and you get, I know that when it's going well and you really feel it, you really feel as though you can drive the band forward really good,
good.
And get in the groove and stuff. And, I don't know about you. One of the talking to morning, Chad. How you doing?
Hey, Chad.
I would rather rather listen to Malcolm and Angus.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Chad. Yeah.
Well, I presume that quite a lot of the stuff they do is both of them playing. One of them will do one of it, and the other one will do the other bit.
Yeah. I think Malcolm
won't they? That's my understanding of it.
Stays quite much on rhythm.
That's right.
A lot.
But that that locking in with the drums and not going too fast and not giving it a swing, giving it is a I mean Keith Richards is a great admirer of AC/DC for that. And me too. I think it's very easy. All of that is very flash and very good. Very cool. But actually, you can only do that if you've got a basis on which to do it from, haven't you? It only has any meaning if it has a framework, and that framework is provided with the boys at the back.
Yeah, and I do pretty good with rhythm in rock and roll, but when it comes to jazz, I'm not good at that comping stuff. I have to pay attention to a piano player or
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
not now with bass there's some set things there that I can work around, it seems to me. But when you
Yeah.
listen to the great jazz comp guys, that Herb Ellis and people like that are, that they it's hard to figure out what they're thinking and doing.
Yes, 2 minutes. That's a
I've yet to
fantastic way
figure
of
it
putting
out.
it. 2 minutes says cannot paint the walls without the structure of the house. Yep, absolutely. That's it. One of
That's
my
right. Oh
favourite
yeah,
things
yeah,
is
absolutely, yeah.
when you watch. I don't know if you watched them at Potatis, but have you watched any of the John Fogerty playing with his
I've seen
family?
I've
Which is
seen a few of them.
just, I mean, on
Fascinating. Yeah.
on the one hand, that I love that because I love John Fogerty. I think Creedence Clearwater Revival is one of my favourite bands. They got something. But the other bit is, stone me, what a place he's got. Here we are out of my barbecue pit, and there's that view across the kind of Californian mountains. Like, ooh, get you! Look at that.
Yeah.
That I think is incredible. But I love those things. The best thing I love about any of that is when you see a band, particularly where where they're all doing that, and all the right hands are going up and down, completely in unison in rhythm. I get a visceral thrill when I see a band
Yeah.
if you get three people and they're going in completely in unison. Their arms are going completely in unison when they're playing.
Yeah, his singing catches me off guard because he's still got it.
I know he's still bloody in the original key, for God's
Yeah.
sake. It's like, go get you, John. Well done, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody in the chat hasn't seen them, they're worth it. They're fantastic, really good fun. And he's lucky. All his family play. I mean, one of his sons plays with him a lot when he does live. But yeah. But they are fantastic fun if you haven't seen them. But yeah, and they're also fantastic fun for rhythm guitarists.
Yeah.
I'm a simple bloke. It's 3 chords and the truth, and I love those. I love those things. It's good. And 2 Minutes been enjoying your videos as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
on the other
Chad. I
hand,
appreciate that.
should be are in the dunce's corner for not looking at your videos. So I should pay attention this week and go and look at some.
I never know how they're going to turn out. I mean, it's like sometimes
cool.
sometimes
Well, I think you're
kind
playing
of is there and sometimes not. I'm sorry, what?
I think your playing's wonderful, but more than that, the sound quality that you get across on your videos is very good. The fact that you're playing clean, cleanish chords is probably a good thing. But how many guitars do you have, my friend? You've got some nice guitars. So you should tell us about your guitars, and then Simon can talk about his Stratocaster. So how many guitars have you got?
Well, the accurate answer is I don't really know.
That's what every guitar player says.
I did an inventory. Yeah, I did an inventory a couple of years ago, and I was up at 50. And at the time, my better half said, "Look," she said, "for every, what did she say now? Whenever you sell 2, you should buy 3." No, wait. I think I might have
sell
that.
3 and buy 2.
I might have that backwards. I'm not sure, but anyway, more than 50. I'm going to guess around 60, but counting basses and everything. But,
wow.
And they're just ones mostly I've collected. There's a few that I bought in recent years, but most of them are ones I bought back. Well, this morning's video was on the anniversary Stratocaster, so
what 60th anniversary Stratocaster?
60th Fender anniversary, 2006, the Fender anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah.
so I keep thinking about I'm gonna, I almost never play my strats or tellies anymore because I love my reverends so much that when I'm just playing for myself, I quite often I keep a couple downstairs and a couple upstairs, and then get told I have to clean up, put everything away,
Put
and
away.
I don't have them all here. I actually have I have a storage unit that I
Ah,
actually keep them in that's temperature controlled and all
you
that
can
good stuff.
smuggle them in and out
So
with
I can smuggle them in and out. Yeah. So,
What
uh,
What do you like about the Reverend guitars? What's the
well,
appeal with
to me
the?
they just feel good. I think Joe Naylor's pickups are really. I just think they're exceptionally good pickups. And so when I play the Manta Ray, which I haven't done lately, but the humbuckers there, I like those humbuckers. Something about them I like, and it's very hard for me to put my finger on it and tell you exactly what it was. But the most recent one, and I've already put it back away because I'm working on something else, but was a little single. I was looking, I think I told it in my story that I was looking for a Les Paul Jr., with a single P90, and never connected that Reverend makes that Sensei Jr., which is a double cutaway with a single P90. And when I saw that,
Oh wow!
it was a no-brainer that I had already tried two Gibsons and they were so terrible. you know, uh,
really, were they
oh, just terrible. The
quality
fret,
wise?
the fret sprout was just. I mean, I would have up and down both sides of the neck. You would have had to have it, and I wasn't going to do that. I thought, well, I'll have to send it out and have somebody else do it, and that's a lot of. There's a there's by the time I'm done with that, I can buy the Reverend. And the Reverend,
Wow!
is absolutely perfect with zero fret sprout, um, and I think a better P90. I think Joe Naylor is I think he's got something going on, that's makes him a real
So Joe
genius.
Naylor is a local American manufacturer.
He is. He owns.
He's one half of Reverend, isn't he?
He's the
With
creator
Ken
of it.
Haas.
Ken Haas is the other. Yeah,
He's like the
and
sales guy.
Joe created it years ago, and he also had back in the old days he had Naylor amplifiers that people still swear by, but they're hard to find. And then he hasn't stepped aside. He still designs the guitars, but
Mm.
he's mostly, I think it's Naylor pickups. The rail hammer pickup is his invention, so rail hammers are his, and so he's come up with a lot of original pickups. And so far, I've not found any that I don't like. The Revtrons are, I like them. They're very different than Filtertrons in a Gretsch, but they're still they have
Have
their
you
own
got
vibe that I love.
Greatvannzinni? Have you got two P90s or one?
I have one. I have the
Is it
Sensei.
one?
It's called the Sensei Junior.
I'll just have a look, see if I
Okay.
could find a picture of it. I'll find a picture of it.
Yeah, yeah. The regular Sensei is, I think, two. Yeah. So, but anyway, so I just like those, and I could, and part of that has to do with arthritis that the fender necks that that extra spread has become tougher and tougher, and so I like a little more closeness, uh, smaller scale. It's not that
What's
much
that?
difference.
What's the make of the
Mm-hmm.
guitar that you've got? It's a
Which one?
Reverend. What's the model? Sorry, Vanzini.
The ones I have,
Of the Reverend, yeah, the one
I
with the
have.
P90s.
Oh, that's called a Sensei. SENSEI.
Okay,
SAI.
let's have a look.
SEI. Here we go.
SEI Junior.
If you can see that. Oh, wrong way side.
Yeah,
There you are.
and the new ones every year they change them. So that's probably like last year's model.
This is on
And
reverb, so it probably
yeah,
not.
yeah, and this year's or
Oh, no, it's
2000. This year's model was all natural wood, which is the one I got. And I think the new model just came out literally in the last couple weeks. Is some other color. They change colors almost so you can. People, Ken Haas can tell you that that's a such and such year because it's got this color and it's got that pickup and it's and so you can identify them.
Where's your new one? It's brand new on sale in Glasgow in the UK. So
Brand
near me.
new, really.
Yeah.
And see, that's not a color I recognize offhand.
No,
So
it's brand new on reverb, but it's
okay, that might be the brand new color. Maybe that's the brand new.
£649.
Oh, you know what? It's Alpine Green. That's the same color as my
It is.
Tricky Gomez.
It is Alpine, yeah.
I believe that is the brand new one. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting bit is it's got 3 knobs.
Yes.
Right. And one's a tone and one's a volume, but what's the
Yes.
other one?
The other one is called a bass contour, and it does for what the treble knob does for treble, it does for bass. And so if you turn it all the way up, it puts some bottom in. I was going to point to my screen to show you. Mine's the one in the middle row there to the right, the natural wood-looking one.
Oh yeah,
well, that's the double.
That's the double pickup one.
No, that's the wood. That's not the one. That's the wood I have on mine though. So the bass contour just boosts the bass a little bit, and or you can think of it as a bass cut or a bass boost, however you want to think of it. And it works within the full range from really not much bass at all to a lot of bass without it getting muddy or getting out.
So it's called a bass contour.
Yeah, as opposed to the treble. We know our treble knobs, right? We cut them back much. At some point, they kick in and become. I always call them muddy mids, and when we turn them down all the way. And they're kind of hard to control and all that. And so I typically, I quite often on the Reverends will play with that bass contour backed off about 20%. And on at least one of mine, I play with the treble backed off probably about 20%, I would think too. So just to take the edge off. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have one. You don't have one to hand. Greatvannzinni team. We've got one near you.
I'm sorry, what?
You haven't got one of your Reverends to hand?
I don't.
Oh, wow.
No.
Something to look forward to.
I put them all away. Yeah, I think I've done videos on all of them now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, I hear good things about Reverend guitars, very much so that,
Yeah, well, so far I've been very, yeah. So far, I don't know if I've been really lucky. There may be some bad ones. I don't know. But
I think, don't they do the kind of PRS model thing, which is they get them built in Indonesia, the Far East. But
they're all built
they quality control them. They all go to Reverend. They get quality controlled there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a nice guitar. I've never seen them. I don't know where they. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I don't even think these are available in New Zealand.
They're barely available here. We had one dealer south of me and one up in Portland, and both of them have quit carrying. Well, one went out of business up in Portland, and the one in Corvallis quit carrying them. I don't know what the reason was, but and then the third one I got used off of Guitar Center's used website. And got it for a steal, and it said it was in excellent condition. And I thought, oh man, this is what am I going to get? Because sight unseen. And it came to me, and it wasn't in excellent condition. It was in brand new, like new condition. It had the hang tags in the case, and it came with the hard shell case, and I got it for about half price. So,
wow.
I think that was a lucky deal. I think, but.
Just so you know, Andrew, the one I showed, the Alpine green one I just showed, is £649 of your UK pounds.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're in that. What's that? 1,000 New Zealand dollars kind of thing.
A little bit more. A little bit more.
Yeah.
They won't be a cheap guitar. So Billy Gorgon's got a signature model, I see.
Yeah. Greg Koch also. And I can never remember how to say his name. Reeves Gabrels.
Gabrels, Reeves Gabrels.
Yeah. And a few others.
Anderson.
Pete Anderson has a number. Yeah, I love his playing. I love to listen to him.
Oh, he was fantastic with Dwight Yoakam. That first couple of albums he did was fantastic. But look at this. So they do a tally as well. Wow.
Yeah. Pete's got like 2 or 3 different. He's got a baritone, a telly, and a kind of a rockabilly, a Gretschy kind of guitar.
So what's the deal with this Corona wood? Why is Corona wood a good thing?
Yeah, I can't answer that. Ken has talked about that it's kind of in between two other woods, and it's still a
Oh,
good
okay.
solid wood, and tonally it really has a nice even tonal quality if you
Okay.
buy that. Well, I think it's probably true with hollow bodies anyway, but um, yeah. So, and then they talk a lot about their caps, which I don't. It's far too technical for me. But their caps are 10% caps made out of polyester instead of 20% caps that made out of who knows super glue or I don't know whatever somebody else uses. So I don't follow that. So
It's
yeah,
also
and
called
so
limber, Andrew.
the sensei I got from Wildwood, which is who Greg Koch works with a lot. So
Yeah.
Oh, look at that base. That base is cool. Let's have a look at the bases.
they have some cool
Wow.
looking. Yeah, I've come very close to buying one of their short scale bases, but
Oh, that's nice.
yeah. And they always have an interesting, I don't know, kind of retro or retro
Yeah.
space age.
Yeah.
I always,
It's that
yeah,
kind of 50s space age thing, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
50s
It's
cars,
got
right?
a
Fins and kind of, yeah. They have a
it's
cool
Wow.
got a
vibe.
different vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Apparently that sorry, just have a quick look at Karina and White's. Basically, it's well, first of all, it's light and very resonant. So you
Oh,
can see
okay.
two advantages for the guitar maker. Mid-range tones, sharper than mahogany, warmer than ash, with
Okay.
good sustain and really clear sounding. You hit a chord and can feel the whole body reverberating.
Yeah.
I don't know if that does that chime with you, Greatvannzinni, as a
Yeah,
description.
that's what Ken I think had said about it. He talked about it having such an even
Okay,
quality tonal
yeah.
quality. So
So
yeah.
I can see why you would want to go
Oh,
for that
there's
sort of
one.
mate.
I've not seen that one.
Look at
Wow.
that.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Unity. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Dwight
think they make
Yoakam's,
some.
yeah. That's right, 2 minutes. Dwight Yoakam's old guitar player, Pete Anderson.
Yeah, and his I haven't seen him live, but on YouTube I have, and he used to do some
Mm.
live streams before the virus, and
No,
um,
right.
he was just
Right,
great
he
fun to
stopped
watch.
doing them, doing the live streams, whereas
Yeah, I wish he would do so. I don't know. Right, it would usually be him at a live gig, playing, and so
yeah. Whereas
yeah,
have you
Oh,
caught any of the Tom Bukovic? Uh,
I just signed up to him recently and have watched some of his. Yeah,
he's really cool.
he's really
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really good. Yeah.
As I understand, he's a session guy in Nashville, as I
He's a
understand.
Nashville session guy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's while so I didn't say this, but I think it's a correct. What I like about him is that whenever he plays, you feel like there's a purpose to his playing. That
mm,
he's not just noodling. He's
yeah.
playing something, and he's got a structure and a mode and a kind of end point in mind, kind of thing, which I think is you know really cool. Actually, I think that's it's a lesson.
If you're not, I don't know if you're signed up to the Greg Koch channel or not, but
yep.
he's been doing interviews with some with Rick Vito, and he mentioned yesterday that he's going to have Johnny A coming on, which is and
Oh,
also
wow.
Roscoe Beck, one of my favorite bass players, who used to
Yeah.
play with Greg, and so he had like Steve Lukather on this last week. And I haven't gotten around to watching
Oh
those.
right,
So
yeah. Was it? Yeah, everyone's doing it. Joe Bonamassa's been doing some as well, hasn't he? Have you seen those with Joe Bonamassa
no, I
interviewing?
haven't. No.
In fact, he just interviewed Steve Lucas, I think. Yes,
Oh,
he
okay.
did, and he interviewed somebody else. Dion. He interviewed Dion because Dion's got a new album out.
Dion, like Dion and the
As in
Belmonts.
Dion on the Belmonts, Dion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's still going. Aged. Well, he
I
must
love
be
that
nearly
guy.
80.
Yeah.
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 Could I say looking good on it too? Blimey, he's a
It wouldn't surprise
good
me if
on.
it's a pretty darn good album. I mean,
Yeah. I don't know if he said that.
wow. How interesting.
Yeah, let's see how old he is. He is.
Good for
He
him.
is. In fact, He was born July the 18th, 1939. So he is 80 years old. Well done. And he's just released a new album. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Arvin, what type of P90s did you put on your telly?
Greg Koch.
K-O-C-H?
Yeah, KOCH, yeah.
I saw a video a few years ago with Rick Vito playing these weird, interesting-looking guitars, and that was the first time I became aware of Reverend guitars. And I think he was the first guy really playing them because.
Yeah, I think they just interviewed him recently, and he said he was the first. I think, or they identified him as the first. Yeah, or it might have been an old interview I was watching.
So show us your Strat, Simon. That lovely Japanese Strat that you picked up.
This is what I
if you give me give me a second, I'll present you. I've just changed this dashboard around. So if I lose you, solo layout. Here we go. There you are.
That's
okay.
Wow. Just on the Dion. Oh no, I just got an interview with Dion up. He said he picked up a heroin addict. Dion picked up a heroin addict for the last 15 years when he was like 14 or 15 playing in the clubs, and he said he listened to one of his albums he said when I heard my album sober, I thought, wow, heroin didn't touch it. Is an interesting comment, so we'll see. But anyway, I saw this. I kind of look out on Reverb for as I've got I've had a Japanese Strat that I've had for 32 years, half my life, and I look at it and I kind of wanted another one, sort of thing. But I've been looking out to see if anything comes up, and I came across this one, which is and it was £400, 400 of my English pounds, which is pretty cheap for.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a lovely guitar to play. I mean, I'm amazed by it.
How different is that neck from your number one Strat?
Well, I think this is a 50 style neck because it's a bit bigger and a bit thicker. My other one, my Japanese, the other one I've got is apparently is a 59 body and a 62 neck, which means the neck is thin, skinnier, and definitely skinnier than this. And obviously, it's got a rosewood fretboard, whereas this has a maple fretboard. But
and you like the fact that it's chunkier. If it just feels a little bit.
To be honest with you, I'm not I don't really mind about what the profile of the neck is. I'm quite happy to play. I've got a couple of Chapmans, which one of them has kind of quite a thin, wide neck, which is much more of an Ibanez thing. I really like that as a neck. I don't really mind. I'm not one of those people who says, "Oh, well, it has to be a C shape." Kind of, I'm not pressed about it. It's like you pick up a guitar, whatever it is, and get, in 10 seconds, I've got used to it, and then I start playing, and then I'm happy with what it is. But this is particularly comfortable to play. I said, I find it's a lovely guitar. I mean, it needs some work, by the way, which is why it's £400. It needs some bits and pieces doing to it. But it's on Tuesday. It's going off to the doctors to. It's going off to a local luthier called Johnny Kincaid. Yeah. Johnny Kincaid did the fret jobs on Mick and Dan's from That Pedal Show's guitars.
Okay.
Does that make sense? But they had them changed. I'm not having so I'm taking it to him.
What's he doing to your guitar?
Well, he's going to set it up because I don't know if this will work. We'll see. But because if I play the top E string at the 12th fret, hear that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
See that, all right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
See, that's okay, and that's okay. But nope, that's bad. Anyway, well, that's all right. It's just a bit of a neck adjustment. It's a neck adjustment or whatever, probably just kind of probably not. And it's got, what else does it need doing to it? That's the major thing it needs doing to it. It's got a couple of in fairness, I knew these things were, it's one of those things where this thing, he said, I think it needs a bit of a setup. He was just flipping it basically, I think, and it needs. That's the major thing it needs doing to it, really. Oh, the switch as well. The switch, that position. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't seem to work on just a neck pickup. Most of the time it does.
Stock fenders?
I presume they're stock pickups. Yeah, I don't think anything's been changed about it. I'm going to get him to have a look.
Cool.
I might just need a cleaning, in there.
Yeah, I sprayed some contact cleaner in it, which seemed to get a bit better. But
okay, yeah.
As I say, it was all part of the description. It's got a little ding on the back of it, right? A little ding on the back of the neck,
lovely.
Which is all right. But that's right. It's a nice neck though. But but as I say, it's it's a 400 quid guitar. Let's not, but actually, it sounds great. It sounds different to my, quite a lot different to my other Strat. Interestingly,
they all sound different, don't they?
Yeah, it's got a bit more bite and a bit more. But it is a sound I really like. It's still got that Fender sound.
Do you have a preference for what pickup you play when you're with your Strats, or are you a fiddler with your knob?
I'm not. I'm not a fiddler. I'm not a fiddler with my knob. Can you say that I can get away with it on here?
Yeah. Are you a knob fiddler or?
No comment. Oh dear! Stop that immediately.
Okay. You know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. What's interesting about it is what the difference is. There's a difference in this bottom tone knob. Yeah, this is the traditional Strat bottom tone knob, so it doesn't affect the neck pickup at all.
Right.
Whereas on my other one, that tone knob affects the neck pickup.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, that must be from new, because I bought it new and I've never had it modified. I've never had it modified. Okay. It's just.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But obviously, whereas this one is more the trad thing, so it doesn't have that tone knob. Does not affect the bridge pickup, not the neck pickup, the bridge pickup. Does not affect it.
That's just typical. All the original Strats. You go on some blogs, and people on some blogs, people will say, the tone doesn't work on my bridge pickup anymore. It's broken. What should I do? And it's not broken. It's just how
you take it to the man and get it rewired if you want it to work.
There are mods that people do.
I'm sure that's a classic mod, isn't it? Get the tone knob to work on the bridge pickup as well. But it doesn't have that. But it's pretty clean for a 30-year-old guitar. I think it's a 30-year-old guitar.
It looks great.
Hasn't got many dings on it and stuff. As I say, the guy was pretty straightforward about it. He said, it needs a setup and the switch needs looking at, and that's true. But other than that, it does play really nicely. I've played it mostly since I got it, and when you get into the feel of it, and you think, and I've really sort of bonded with it as a guitar, and it does. It's really nice as a guitar and has a really good sound. I really like the sound of it. Plug it into the old PV and, as I say, it's got a kind of bit of a brighter sound, which is what you'd expect from a maple neck rather than a rosewood neck, a rosewood slab board.
Yeah.
But it's really nice. And
I'm finding I like maple necks more and more.
And as far as I'm aware, it's all original. Doesn't seem to have had anything fiddled to it. The pickups have gone yellowy, which is what you'd expect, kind of thing. It's got a single ply fret scratch plate, not a 3-ply. You'll notice, which seems to be some of them do, some of them don't. Don't seem to have a.
I just did a show and tell video on a 2007 and a 1994 Mexican. Made in Mexico Strat.
Oh, right.
The 94 had a triple ply pick guard, and the 2007 had just a single ply piece of plastic.
One of the things I wondered is, obviously this is based off a 50s one, and my other one's based off a sort of 60s one. I wondered, I haven't had a chance to look at that, but did they change them to 3-ply for the 60s, but didn't do them in the 50s?
I don't know.
It would seem to me that's what would happen, is that they've made a kind of, this is the more workman-like one, because there's only 1-ply, it's just a piece of plastic cut out, whereas obviously 3-ply with the black in the middle.
My Clapton Strats, my 89 and my 2016 came with the single ply scratch plate, and they don't have all the screws that the modern Stratocasters have. So they're missing a couple of screws on the scratch plate. And I've got to tell you, while it's going for authenticity for that era, I don't like the single ply scratch plates. Don't like them.
Do you know what? Neither do I. I was thinking to myself, and I'll think about this long, but I was thinking to myself, I could maybe change that for a 3-ply one. Actually,
Yeah.
I like the 3-ply with the black thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the looks of them, but that's just for me.
Yeah.
Nobody else sees them.
So that's right, Andrews. They started off today in the 50s as being single ply, and then they went to 3-ply later on. Yeah. Which is kind of figures with what this guitar is as opposed to what the other one is as a thing. But it's I'm as I say, I'm really pleased that I it's I must say, Arvin's saying if there's one pup that needs a tone knob, it's the Strat bridge pickup. This is fine. Actually, I think that's what the kind of in between bit is. If you use position, well, I don't know. I never know whether that's 1 or 5, but that.
Oh, that was in my video.
so you you put some of the middle pickup in, so you can change the tone a bit.
So when it's in the down position, I've always called that position number 1.
That's
and everybody I know. And I looked, and I was doing the video that came out this morning, and I was looking at the sheet that told me how because it has the S1 switching system in it, and I was looking at the sheet, and Fender says that's position number 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
So show us, Simon.
All the way up
so
is
that's
number
position.
1.
That's number 5.
That's position number
according
5, according to Fender.
That's 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
According
to Greatvannzinni,
thank you for clarifying
that.
Yeah, I
need to go and see your video.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I was looking at that sheet, and I'd never quite picked up on that. So, yeah.
So on your recent upload of your strats that you've put on your channel, do you have a preference? Are you able to give us the short story on your video now?
Well, the one that came out this morning is one of those that has that push button S1 switching system, and I'm not fond of that at all. And I've actually got that one. I got that, and I've got a made in Mexico Strat with that also. What was I thinking? If I had to do it over, I would buy that exact same Strat as a standard Strat with just the normal switch. I mean, if you don't push the button, it is a normal Strat. It's just a straight Strat. So, no problem there. And it sounds great. It plays great. It's too nice for me. So the Strats I did a week or so ago was a couple made in Mexico Strats. Yep. One was a 2007. I'm not fond of the tone on that. It plays as good as the American. It's just perfect. I mean, it's just really, really nice, but I don't care for the tone on those pickups. And then the old beat up 1994 Strat that I bought for $195 is probably almost my favorite Strat. I've got another one that I haven't pulled out in about 5 years that I gotta play that I think's really it's an American made that I think's really be my favorite, a Highway 1 that I think will be my favorite. So.
No, right, yeah. Chris Buck, my friend Chris Buck has got a Highway 1 that's his number 1. Did you? Have you been following?
It's not his number 1 anymore, is it?
Not anymore. No, have you been following that, Andrew?
I did. I just saw the video today of when it was done at 62.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
He bought a 62 Strat in an auction in. And this won't mean anything to you guys, but it means something to me. Pontypridd, which is an industrial town in South Wales. It's a steelmaking town in South. Pridd. The 2 D's are a th.
Okay, when Wales came here to play the All Blacks, and the guy would say he was from Pontypridd. so it's Pontypridd.
Pontypridd. That's right. The double D in Welsh is th.
Pontypridd.
Pontypridd. Oh. So, but yeah. So Chris bought it was £1,900 for this 62 Strat, and by God, it was battered. I mean, it was.
Oh, boy.
The neck had some of the frets replaced, but not all of them, with kind of bits of brass or something, sort of old and tossed. It was quite deeply gouged and scalloped in some places. they put in 3 switches. Somebody put in 3 switches to do something.
3 holes.
And they 3 holes. Yeah, but if you took the whole of the underneath had been routed out to kind of, and it man alive, it was battered. But it had all one of the pickups I think had been rewound in the late 60s, mid to late 60s, but the other two were original pickups. Yeah, I think he get one rewound. I think he got one of them rewound.
Yeah.
But the original, it had all the original pots and 2 original pickups and stuff like that. So it's he got these 2 guys.
It was a steal.
It was a steal, and he spent about another £1,000 having it done up.
And that was a steal.
That was a steal. Yeah, that was good. By these 2 guys who made a load of videos about it. So so check those out. It's really good to see what they went through and how they fixed the 3-ply pick guards and do things. But in fact, what he did, he was a bit disappointed, but actually he kind of filled in the holes in the pick guard here, but you could still kind of see them. And he was like, "Oh, I didn't really want." But actually, just says this guitar's got a load of history. Stuff has been done to this guitar, and clearly, if you've got a thing with 3, filled in holes, you go, "Well, something's happened to that." So it's not disguising. And I think
wouldn't he love to meet whoever had owned that, or the relative?
Oh yeah.
Whoever,
well, that's the great Robert Baker thing, isn't it? Have you seen Robert Baker's? He's recently got some vintage guitars and has had contact with the original owners.
Oh, I didn't get that. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Particularly he bought a 62 Strat, I think, in it. And what's funny is that he'd had his eye on a 62 Strat before, and he was going to buy it, but he had to not buy it because he had to buy a new roof for his house. And then he then picked up another one, and the guy was selling it because he had to buy a new roof for his house. So there's a kind of synchronicity about getting it, but which is great fun. But yeah, so Robert Baker's bought a Telly and a Squire recently.
Yeah, I saw.
But he's had contact with the original owners, which is fantastic. Got the story of them from the original owners. Yeah. Whereas Chris has not had any contact with the original owners, but I'm fascinated by, if you get a really battered old guitar, what do you do to it, and what do you not do to it, kind of thing.
Tough calls. Yeah.
Get it playing. Get it playing, Simon. Get it playing, and then make a decision about whether or not you're going to,
Oh, I see. Yes, a playing, not a plane.
Yeah. No, get it playing. Get it, and then make a decision because we are guitar players and we appreciate the fact that a guitar has mojo, and that's one of the reasons why I'm always going to try and buy secondhand guitars, because I like the fact that something's had something to it. Me too. That's just my preference, but I think that's a smart call by Chris, and he's no slouch. He knows, and he's going to sit back when he's having a glass of wine and look at that guitar and know himself that it's got history.
The beauty of it is that he's going to take it out and play it. He's
on the road.
His thing is he's going to take it on the road. He's going, I'm taking it out. I'm playing it live.
That's right.
Because
because
guitars are not for glass cases. Guitars are for taking out and playing. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I'm like you, Andrew. That's why I'd always buy a second-hand guitar. Oh, not always, but often, because then I feel comfortable about taking it out. I feel comfortable taking it, because it's if I get it playing nicely, and I'm sure Johnny can get it playing nicely, it sounds great. I know that it'll be, as a gigging instrument, it'll be fantastic. I can go anywhere with it, play anything.
So when the band's gigging next, you that's definitely going. That's going to be playing a couple of sets.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, it will come with me, because my other one, my 32-year-old Strat, has got, and obviously I've played it a lot over 32 years. I think, and I'm going to get Johnny to look at it, I think it needs a fret job. I think it had little vintage frets before, and I think I've pretty much, if there's not much bump when you run your finger up the neck.
Okay.
And
that's always a good
at
sign.
32 years, that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, it kind of does, doesn't it? So I said to him, if I bring my other one, like, can you have a look at it and just tell me what you think about it, and then I'll go and stroke my beard about it. It's a bit of a bigger thing, but the Dave Simpson batter caster. No, I didn't. No, I haven't seen that. I don't know who Dave Simpson is, Arvin.
Love Dave Simpson. He's an English guy, young cat. He's been on YouTube for a long time. Awesome, awesome.
I just subscribed to him last week too. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome cat.
Oh, I'll go and check him out, Arvin. Thanks for that. That's, yeah. So that's my other one, and that's my my old. That's my baby. So I got to be careful with that. So I'm going to go and stroke my beard and smoke a thoughtful pipe over it. What I do, but with that, but I think it probably is in need of a fret job, sadly. But you see, I'm fine with that. I don't feel as though that's an issue for me. It's not a vintage guitar. I've had it a long time, but it needs to be playable.
Dave Simpson got into a little bit of trouble a few years ago, guys. He was offered a 62 Strat by some guy in the UK. He loaned it to him, and then he offered it to Dave, and I don't know how much it was. And Dave couldn't afford it, so Dave went onto his channel, and he had, a substantial amount of followers, and asked his followers if they wanted to contribute to him purchasing his guitar. Yeah. That was a GoFundMe before GoFundMe came out, and people sent him money, and he sold a bit of gear. But what's really interesting is that people kicked him in the nuts for it.
For asking for money?
Yeah.
To do it?
Well, look. The thing is, if a guy's asking, look, the guy's presenting something on his channel. He's got a few thousand followers, and he's saying, look, I want this guitar. If you guys want to PayPal me or send me $5 or £5, But interesting how people want to give
that guy?
Yes, that's him.
Yes,
he's outstanding. Check him out, Simon.
Check him out. Oh, check him out. Yeah.
Flick his lovely photo on the screen again, because I've got you in present mode. Yeah, that's him.
Yes. Yeah.
Go and see his Peter Green guitar lessons. He's very good.
Wow, yeah, I've just seen a couple of his videos, and it seems like he is. Yeah.
Just a modest guy. Just a guy like us.
Yeah.
But a bit younger.
Let's see. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'll check it out. But yeah, I think that. So 61,000 subscribers. Yeah, done well. There we are. Subscribed. See what.
Wow.
See what I get for now. I'll have a look. But,
hey, I'm just mindful of the time, Simon. But while we're talking about Fender Stratocasters, and Fender, do you want to do your little presentation on?
Okay, yeah. Well, I thought
is that okay while we've got a bit of time? Because I'll be keen to get Vanzini's impression too, being a guitar nut.
Yeah. Well,
it's official.
As it's one of the things that come up this week is that I don't know if you saw this, but John Cruz, the master builder from Fender, got fired. Did you see that, Greatvanzinni?
Yes, I did. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just interested me.
Good night, Chad.
Good night, Chad. Sleep well, mate.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks, Chad. When you're on vacation, you're going to hang out with us. Look forward to it.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, the wise and wherefore. So the interesting bit to me was not, that really in these current times. That I don't know if you saw what he actually posted, Greatvanzinni. Did you see what he actually posted?
I saw a recap of it in one of the chats, or on the Tone Kings channel.
Yeah, he talked about it a bit, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I saw what he actually posted. I don't know if I could describe it. Basically, it was a Jeep. He had a Jeep, and it had. I'm not belittling this, but it had blood all over the front, and it said, "Protesters? What protesters?" kind of thing, which is a sort of,
yeah,
in a normal cause events, the sort of thing you'd hear down the pub without too much comment. But in the current climate, and interestingly,
What was he thinking?
Well, yeah. What were you thinking, John? That's you're not going to get away with that in the current climate. Yeah, you absolutely aren't, because, and in a corporate sense, that that's the real problem, is that you can say it down the pub and people might laugh or might go, but it goes no further. But if you put it out in a corporate, and I'm conscious of this because I'm a civil servant, obviously working in the UK, that my corporate responsibility on my social media stuff, I am very careful about, no, don't post anything that your grandmother would be offended by, is the kind of rule I go by. If you think your grandmother would be offended by this, well, don't bloody post it. Which I think has served me well in the past, but serves me well now. So I don't post.
My ex-boss used to say, "What would it look like in tomorrow morning's newspaper?"
Yeah.
And it's like, step away from the
step away from the
keyboard.
And interestingly, I had because I subscribe, but I had a letter from Fender.
Oh,
it's a standout from Andy Mooney, signed by Andy Mooney, and it says in it, we saw yet another unarmed African American man killed in front of our very eyes. People are angry today for any number of good reasons, but our African American family and friends have more reason than most. We will not tolerate racism. We must finish the work the leaders of the civil rights movements began decades ago, as it's painfully clear there is much work still to be done. Fender is fortunate to be in the music business, and the music would be nothing without the blood, sweat, and tears of African American musicians then and now. That is their stance. And now, given that, Mr. Cruz is not, his flippant post about it is not going to go well, is it? As a, from a corporate point of view.
Has anybody heard from him? I haven't checked it out in the last couple of days, but you know how here in New Zealand, if you get fired, you have rights. I'm not sure what the situation is in North America. The higher up the ladder you get, the less rights you have, in the sense of, there's that corporate responsibility that you should automatically know anyway, especially if you are an individual who's the face of your product. Now, these guitars that Fender are selling, some of them are bloody $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 guitars, Simon. We're not talking about $500 Squires made in China here. We're talking about the custom shop guitars that artists
master builder
endorse.
Stuff. Yeah. But you get them specially built by the master builder.
Yeah.
By name and kind of, don't you? Yeah.
Is he going to walk away, or will there be a lawsuit? Has anybody heard anything? Greatvannzinni, have you heard anything?
I've not seen anything about it, other than I've not seen that he's had any response to it at all. When you get into management here, quite often you're an at-will employee. Being an old union steward, I unfortunately know way too much, but there's some variation state to state about that. But most of the time, when you get in higher level jobs, you're an at-will employee.
What does that mean, Greatvannzinni? What does an at-will
it means you're not represented by a union.
I see.
You would really have to prove that there's no just cause whatsoever, to be fired, and it would be really hard. They don't have to always have just cause. They can just say, we're taking a different direction with the company, Simon, and you're no longer
That's
needed,
not you.
Yeah, and
you do find that a lot, don't you? With like chief execs and stuff, they come for 5 years, they do something, and then they move on to something else. That kind of thing.
Yep.
Obviously, that's not the case with John Cruz. He's been there for 30 years. My guess is, Greatvannzinni, that there'll be some kind of non-disclosure, and he'll get a payment. Would be my guess about it.
Time.
Yeah.
And a restraint of trade, so he can't go to Gibson or somewhere else, so he can't start up his own guitar company, because of his name. So, But yeah, look, I think this is one of the interesting things about social media. You know, we've all agreed on this show together, the three of us, that we love social media, that we're part of it. You know, we see our limited role in social media and what we do. You know, we're uniting a New Zealander, an Englishman, and an American, you know, tonight, you know, through social media. We're sharing our experiences and our thoughts and opinions on the music that we love. That's the great thing about social media. But jeepers, you know, I like the fact, Simon, that look, even from a human being, from a normal point of view, think about what you're posting on social media. Think about it.
Well, and it's not brain surgery at all here in America, I don't think, because there's all sorts of articles in the paper about policemen that have been fired because they put something on Facebook, firemen, this person, that person, and they no longer work
Teachers,
here. Yeah, and so I mean, every day there's some articles, popping out. So
but I think
it's
it's
not brain surgery. Yeah,
no, but it does, it's
we're
it's a
all being
reminder
watched.
that you're, when you post something on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, that it is public, that in some way, shape or form it is public.
and I think it is social media that has shaped this. When I was younger, I had a career, and I didn't have a sense that I had to really watch what I had to say when I walked out the door at 5 o'clock.
No.
Yep.
And by the time I retired, I understood very clearly that the rules of decency, so to speak, apply 24 hours a day. In anytime I'm engaged in the public, I'm in some manner representing the people I work for. So.
The lines have blurred, haven't they,
Greatvannzinni,
between our private lives and our public lives, and it's much more tricky to navigate that. As I say, my rule is don't post anything that would offend your grandmother.
And that's such an easy, there's a solution, right? That's
one of them, isn't it? Yeah.
An easy, very good and easy one.
If you feel the desire to post things on social media, set up a fake account.
Yeah, but even some of those have come back to haunt people.
Yeah. I think I will go. But no, I agree. And yes, write it in an email and send it to me. And then it's that thing about at work. One of the great things is, if you're furious, write a furious email by all means, but don't send it. Put it in the drafts thing, and then come back to it tomorrow, kind of thing, or send it to your mate who understands, that you're just venting.
It was the joke before I retired that we all had that phrase saying, "Just step away from the keyboard." Just back away from the keyboard.
Step away from the furies.
Don't be sending no email. So,
Well, I was talking to a friend yesterday about the Fender episode, and it was actually Carl. And Carl mentioned to me, he said, just imagine if he had posted that, if there was a whaling protest, say China or Japan had started commercial whaling, and he'd posted that and ran into some protesters, who were saying, the right to go whaling. And a lot of people would support that post, saying, these whalers have been run over. Great, save the whale. And I laughed and said exactly. But the point is, we know that was put in the context of the situation that's happening today, which is,
It's terrible. It was just terrible. Yeah.
And context is everything.
Now, the one I don't know anything about is the full tone one. I've not heard.
Oh, go on, do you want to say something about the full tone one?
Okay, so Mr. Fulltone, from what I understand, and I'm only getting this through other bits of social media, and I saw a little bit of what he posted, but he was saying that he was disappointed that businesses had to endure the looting, the uncontrolled looting, the criminality of the looting, and you can disguise that behind any political agenda you want. The fact is, hardworking Americans suffered their businesses, etc., etc. Now, on the face of that, who wouldn't agree? But in the context of what's happened, and his corporate responsibility, well, he's been kicked out of Guitar Center.
Yeah, and I heard Reverb.com is not going to allow new pedals to be sold. So I mean, those are the two biggest. Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but I heard that on one of the channels. Yeah, and there's a lot of small stores that'll sell. If you got a small store and you got a lot of pedals, you'll put them on Reverb, trying to make a sale there too. So,
interestingly, it obviously he hasn't done what we've just discussed. He's obviously got cross about something, vented, but hasn't vented it in private. Written an email and not sent it, or sent it to his mate. What he's done is he's vented it on social media. Yeah. Whatever. But and because he's vented it in public and not in private, he's been nuked by it. In spite of having to.
You may not have agreement with how things are handled, but to me, it's just I don't know. It's a brain thing that just isn't this a time to have some extra sensitivity? And
completely.
And you may want to say that, but this is the time to be sensitive and not be saying things like that. So,
it doesn't matter where you are in an organisation, does it? Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
We've been saying this for a long time on our channel, Greatvannzinni. If you've got nothing nice or positive to say, don't say it. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have an opinion. Simon and I, we talk about a couple of things before the show. Certainly we have opinions, and you do too. But I think for the sake of our blues show that we do, not everyone wants to hear your opinion on politics. If people want to hear the political opinion, they'll either go to CNN or Fox News or whatever.
To do something I posted about Fox News about them reading out that Monty Python sketch.
That was
great?
That was hilarious.
You look it up. If you look up Fox News Monty Python, you'll get it. Basically, the woman
from the
newsreader is reading out. We're in a narco-syndicalist commune. We don't have a leader. We've got an executive officer of the week. And she reads out his whole chunk. With obviously people at Fox News have never seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's like absolutely, and they obviously got a bit of conversation because they were commenting on something.
I gotta look that up.
Some left wing thing that. Look it up. It's absolutely hysterical. She's like deadpan reading it out. Oh God!
What they do, sorry, Simon? What they do is they go to Google and they key in anarcho-syndicalist, and it comes up with all this phrase, these 3 paragraphs which talk about no leader, and anybody knows what so they cut that and they paste that in the speech and they give it to Simon to read on the news.
I've got to look at that. Oh man, that sounds great.
Oh, you've got to. It's just hilarious. We're in a narco-syndicalist commune.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastically fun. So there.
But seriously, guys, I think one of the great things about the music that we love, and we take every opportunity we can. We love the British blues music scene. We love the fact that these guys that we love musically made it very clear from the word go that they were admirers of Black Americans, and the music.
It's in the fabric of it, isn't it? It's in the fabric of it.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And how many people did that bring together? How many people were enlightened or turned on by that over the years? A shitload of people would have been turned on to it.
At some level, a whole nation,
completely.
I mean, whether you're knowledgeable about it or know the specifics or not, somewhere along the line, some of that music drifted into your life. The roots of it and had an impact on you. If you're, unless you're just opposed to music, period.
No, but
something.
And that's the context in which John Cruise finds himself in. isn't it?
Carlos,
That is the
yeah.
context in which he finds himself in, and and in that context, the way that Black American music has been shaped by Fender,
It's a
as
Uh-huh.
much as any,
no-brainer.
and it's like, no, don't do it, no, don't, and it's like, and that's the trouble, isn't it? You work in a corporate thing which has tremendous history with all of that, to help shape it, that. You can think of the black musicians who played Fender guitars. Muddy Waters playing a Telecaster, Jimi Hendrix, the iconic
Buddy
Stratocaster player,
Guy.
Buddy Guy on his dots.
Oh,
It's and in that context, doing that sort of thing is just in the normal course of it. Never mind the sensitivities that we've had recently, is just not a brilliant thing to do. And frankly, if you do it in the current with that history and the current, you are going to get fired, aren't you? Sadly, because it's just a dumbass thing to do. Is about the best way I can,
makes Mark Agnesi's comment sound like nothing, doesn't it? Mark
Agnesi play authentic,
play authentic. Does anyone remember that? But what's really interesting though is that you and I celebrated Fender over the last 6 months from that quote saying how Fender were a smart organization, smart company, smart marketing, different price points with their product. All credit to Fender. All credit to Fender for hitting the nail on the head and getting rid of it and doing it right from the word go. Top marks, right. Fender.
Well, I agree, and I think from a corporate point of view, and to put out this statement, that the last sentence of the statement says we must continue to amplify voices of protest, voices of healing, voices of love, voices of peace, but most of all, voices of change. And if that is your, and hats off to Andy Mooney for doing that. I think that is a very strong statement from Fender, and it says the right, that he understands where they are and their work, within the black music community and all of that. And you can't have people on your, in your corporate world being idiots, and saying things that are just not appropriate. And you're going to go, aren't you? You were going to go if you do that.
I tell you what, if you were a corporate leader in a music instrument company and you thought about writing something on social media in reply to what was happening in America, you bloody aren't doing that now, are you?
No, I mean, gosh, yeah.
Well,
and I don't want people. I'm not for complete blanket censorship. I'm for free speech. Okay, can you understand? Or but in the context of the civil rights movement from the 1960s to what's happening now. This isn't a free speech. This isn't a free speech issue. This is a pull your finger out of your backside issue, and
and understanding the company you work for and its history with all of that, and it's really just a bit, it's just dumb, really, not to figure that out. I think, and I don't think Fender had any alternative, and they acted quickly and they acted decisively.
Good for them. Yeah.
Well, I do think that's
it was
right.
within one day. One day, wasn't it? One day. Gone.
Yeah.
Come into the office. You posted this. Yep. See you later.
Clear your tools. You're off. I don't care who you are and what you're not representing my company in a way that I want it represented, and a way that is consistent with its history, its position, its everything else. That's it. Sorry, mate, but you're out. And that, I don't have any arguments with that. I honestly don't.
Wait, well, what did I say?
Well, yeah.
I mean, I just can't. I just try to imagine what his response.
Well, that would have been his response.
What the thinking was.
What do you mean? It's just a joke. Actually, John, it's not just a joke, mate. You think of the context that you're putting it out in, who you are.
Tell the Floyd family it's a joke.
Yeah, tell the Floyd family. You are a representative as a master, a named. The thing about Fender is that they name their master builders, don't they?
They're an international company.
You get a guitar made by a named individual. They take pride in that.
They're a cultural icon. They're not just a bloody company. That you know, there's that whole. They're a cultural
history
icon.
and everything. Yeah. And as such, sadly, John Cruise is representing that cultural icon, and that what Fender is in its history, in the wider people know who John Cruise is, because he's been sold as that, Fender Master Builder. You've 30 years experience of doing it, and you're not, you've got to have greater sensitivities in terms of what you put out in that context. So I think, I think my feelings are that, Fender did the right thing, and he didn't do the right thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sadly.
Thank you, my friend, for raising that issue, because
Yeah.
I don't think this is this is not a political issue at all. Because
my thing is, to everybody who's watching, is watch what you post on social media.
Yeah.
Just be aware about who you're representing. As I've said before, I work for the British government. I'm a civil servant. I am very aware about what I post on social media, and whilst I'm all for having a laugh at Fox News, that's not going to affect the British government position by me as a private individual having a laugh. But I think it's fine. But yes, I am very aware that these days, what you post on social media could come back to bite you in a professional sense, in a corporate sense.
And I think it's appropriate we discuss. I mean, it is this. Both of these cases are related to the guitar community, and and it brings it kind of right home to us. To
Greatvannzinni,
to our community.
Has anybody that you know of come out in support of John Cruise's right to post? Have you come across anything like that in any of the chats that you've been following?
Very vague, mild comments like, "Well, everybody's so sensitive nowadays. Everybody's too sensitive." And I
that
saw
one, the famous one. That's a famous one, isn't it?
Yeah, and I saw that in a couple of chats where people brought that up. I don't remember if it was in TK's or another one, but.
As if it's a bad thing. As if sensitivity is a bad thing.
You're too sensitive, Simon.
It was better when we were insensitive. We could just be rude about everybody, and it was all fine. Yeah. No, it wasn't. No, it isn't.
That's what I say. Our motto here. Our motto here in this country. I live here. I love this country dearly, but we should also have. We should also have.
I love America too.
We should also have a phrase that says "Make America decent again." And we need to strive for that. Just my 2 cents.
No, we're friends of America. Greatvannzinni.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. We're friends of America and Britain, and but I think all countries can take advice on that, and I think that's one of the roles that we have in our little bit of the world and in our little bit of pie on social media. Supporting each other, giving positive comments. If somebody wants some feedback, I'll message Simon and ask Simon his opinion on something. We'll share something, about something, and I'm sure Greatvannzinni, as you do more shows with Simon and I over the next few years, hopefully we can celebrate some good things that are happening in the music industry. And but top marks to you, Simon, for raising that on our show, and top marks to Fender for taking direct action.
Yeah. I think so. I think there's no alternative. By the way, Carlos is in the chat.
And you may be wondering what he's walked into.
Well, but actually what he's walked into is he needs to get his arse in gear and come on this show with his new Brian May guitar. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Oh, no, I have not.
Yes, Carlos. And he mucking about and saying, you have to get up and come on the show.
Oh, gosh, I would love to know more about
Brian.
that.
Yeah.
I came very close to buying one.
Yeah,
years
beautiful.
Back.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, completely. Fantastic. So yes, I'm just saying, Carlos, we need to get you up. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it was hilarious. Yeah, I agree, Arvin. The Monty Python Fox News thing was hilarious. Very funny.
I would love to see more on that, Carlos.
Yeah, I love the guitar.
So
You
please-
should get one, and you should come on and talk to us about it, Carlos, and show it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See, bullying on social media now.
I was just always fascinated by him.
Yeah. It's really interesting because it's a really interesting guitar and what he's done to it, and what he's sort of figured out how to do. And Carlos has got to bring his baby on and talk about it. Maybe next weekend.
Okay, so Carlos, what time is it where you are now at present? Because Simon and I normally go on about an hour and a half.
So it's
earlier
2 a.m. It's 2 a.m. where Carlos is, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, he's in New York. Yeah, so it's
No, it would be 3 a.m. right now.
3 a.m. Is it? Oh, it's a slightly different time. Yeah.
Okay.
Normally they're 5 hours. So, but he's not at
So
work
is
at
one
the moment. You see.
Is 1 a.m. too late or early for you, you New Yorker? No one sleeps in New York.
The city that
3
never
a.m.
sleeps.
No, it's 3 a.m. You're right. Greatvannzinni, 3 a.m. for Carlos. So,
Yeah.
Well, if you want to come on next week,
I was going to say, I could do
2
6
hours.
o'clock. 1 a.m. for you, Carlos. How does that figure?
Yeah, because we've been going for an hour and 45. So yeah, about it's 1 o'clock your time. If you want to be ready, I'll flick you a link.
Flick it in. You've got his details.
Have your guitar handy. Have your headphones ready. Have your computer on.
Any old headphones on? I've got iPod headphones and old.
Mine were $5 down at the corner store.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've got an old iPad Air 2 that I'm doing this on, which is fine. You just need a pair of headphones. I would have said these are an absolute prerequisite, but I quite often use my £5 Samsung ones, or these are, 10 quid Apple ones. So next weekend, Carlos, come on and show your guitar. That would be really exciting. And tell us all about it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Good. Get him on.
Vanzini, the next time you come on our show with us, if you could do us a favor and have a couple of your Reverend guitars. I know you've done videos. I know you've done videos yourself on your channel, and that's great. And if people in the chat haven't checked out Vanzini's channel, please do.
Look at that.
Please. Wow.
But first, I must do videos.
Okay. That's a guild.
That's a beautiful. That's a beautiful guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my next video. You got the preview.
No, excellent. Oh, so look, I'm going to look out for these.
Yeah.
Greatvannzinni. I apologise. I'm in the dunce corner. Oh. Hello.
This box, yeah.
Oh, hang on. We got a bit of. Sorry, I had a bit of the spinning wheel of doom. I don't know if anybody else did.
No.
Probably just here.
I heard a little static.
Yeah, that's all right. The other thing I've discovered, and going back to this, is going from the big thing to a very tiny thing. Is that I've got a. Easy one of those. Look, I've got a few of these Dava picks.
Oh.
Anybody use Dava picks?
No.
If I turn it around. Basically, it's got a sort of hard. It's really good actually. They're like £1 each or something. I think I got 5 for £5 on Amazon. I thought I'd give them a try because I wanted some new picks.
And they have little depressions in them, do they?
It's not. Yeah, they're not actually.
Circles?
They're not really. Those aren't really depressions. They're just kind of. But it does have. You can't really see. I'll get close enough to. If I get it to focus on it, can you see in the circle of blue in there? You can't really see it. I can't. It's going to focus on me. That's why I hide my head. It's got three little black lines. You can't really see them going across that way.
I thought I was seeing something. Yeah.
Yeah, but basically that's kind of where you grip it. It gives it slightly more bend or slightly less bend. But actually, they are very accurate. I find them, if I'm playing with it, they're because they've got a very sharp point. And it's quite wide, as you can see. It's about the size of a bit wider than my thumb. So it's pretty good actually.
A little over 1 millimeter, maybe.
Yeah, they're quite. Yes, it's quite a thick thing. It's quite doesn't really bend at all. So you can bend it a bit if I hold it on the end, but if I hold it further down, it gets firmer basically. So
Oh,
the
how
further
interesting.
back I hold it, the more bendy it is, and then the further up I pick it. But yeah, I think the one criticism I've heard is that the tips wear out quite quickly. I don't know if that's you. I'll let you know on that. But yeah, it's a good pick. It's
Yeah.
well designed and works really well. Yeah, I'm liking it
Appreciate
so
that.
far.
Appreciate the feedback.
It's not really a gear thing, is it? A small piece of plastic. But no, it's cool. It's a cool pick. And as I said, I think I got 5 for a £5 on Amazon. I'm on Amazon there.
That's
£5
not
for
bad.
5
Yeah,
different colour
that's
ones.
good.
Yeah, nice.
Very cool.
So if you're feeling like, check them out. Yeah, it was good stuff.
So people are staying safe, obviously, where they are. Keep safe, stay safe, keep out of trouble.
Yeah. Especially as
Yeah.
watch out for the second wave, which is I take it you're we've managed to export our coronavirus back to New Zealand because
We
we're
don't
very
like
cross.
we don't like English tourists, Simon.
Because we're jealous of the
Not
fact
too
that you
happy
haven't
with
had
you
any
people.
of your own for the last 6 weeks. Therefore, we're going to
Yeah.
transport some of ours to you.
Yeah.
God's sake!
Unbelievable.
I know,
Unbelievable.
should have sent us home. Should have sent them home. Bloody hell, with a thick ear. God, I would have done. Hopefully, you haven't had any more cases since then.
We've broke daily records here for about 6 or 7 times in the past 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Here in Oregon, so it's really taking off again.
Yeah. As they ease lockdown and stuff like that, and then it will just blooming start kicking off again. Oh, I know. Ours is still going down, although we are easing the lockdown situation. We still haven't had bars and restaurants open yet. They're not open for another probably 2 or 3 weeks, and I think there's going to be quite a lot of social distancing in those things. People are
I think we've
organising.
already opened them with
You
requirements for distance.
Yeah. Did you see that? I saw a story of a bar in Florida where something like 30 people had been tested positive for it, and 7 of the staff, and it was like one place, one night, and they managed to infect about 40 people. Is that right, Graham?
I read something along that line too.
Yeah.
And I remember the one lady was just talking about, we just went out on the town for
out
on the town for a night, and just people not following those basic. So one of our big days, ours was a church over in Eastern Oregon that was actually helping out with testing.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm very unclear if they had it and possibly gave it to people they were testing, or did somebody that they were testing give it to them, or how that worked. But
that's right.
We had one day where we had a lot of new cases. And
blind me. So basically, this woman who spent months adhering to the lockdown, she went with 15 of her friends, and they all got coronavirus from this one bar, one night in this one bar. Fortunately, none of them, I don't think, very seriously. But nevertheless, you can see how pernicious it is by that, can't you? Obviously, there's one person there who's maybe a super spreader or something, and I know that 7 employees tested positive out of the 49. So whether they've been,
oh my gosh, isn't that something?
But it just gives you some idea.
I think when I read it, it was like that there had been 13 of them that went out on the town or something.
Yeah, 15.
So now it's much higher now. Wow.
Yeah. Whoa. So I think now is the most dangerous time because it's we're starting to they were not careless, not wearing masks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen that? Have you seen the misinformation about wearing masks and social distancing and stuff going around?
It's bad for you.
Well, but it's irrelevant. It doesn't stop. Or it's kind of like it's useless to wear the mask, which is nonsense, of course. But
in fact, the one study, well, of course, initially they said there's no need to wear a mask. Please donate them to the hospital. So, we did get.
If you're not going out, that's fair enough. But I wear a mask if I go to the supermarket.
Yeah, but I mean, the one study that was done that showed it possibly reduced your risk of getting it by 65%.
Yeah,
that was
not only
does it
protect,
but
really it protects somebody else from you.
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Who
like,
are
you know,
those people that are positive. Yeah.
breathing into a mask, it's not getting out quite so much as, and the difference between 1 and 2 meters is astonishing, isn't it? It's like, you know, there's way less chance of catching something in 2 meters than you are in 1.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was on social media a while ago, last week, and I forget who mentioned it, but it was someone that I follow said that they were in line, and this woman had a face mask on, but she had a hole cut in her mouth so that she could stick her cigarette in through her face mask. So she was smoking.
I mean,
so she got it 90% right.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. There's no accounting for people, is there?
Greatvannzinni, it was a North American too, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Now it's a queer as fork. Yes.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It wasn't a Kiwi or an English person. It was a North American.
Well, it could happen here. We're not on moral high ground here, but and so basically, New Zealand is still clear, apart from the 2 Brits that I hope you've banned from You're still clear.
Yeah.
Good. Thank God for that.
No community spread. So
well, we're going backwards. It's masks are supposed to be mandatory in 3 more days.
Wow.
I don't know how that's going to go, but
did you talking of that? Did you see? Did you hear the Bruce Springsteen thing?
No.
Bruce Springsteen's been doing a Sirius X radio thing.
Oh.
And I will say it because he said it, and I'm quoting. But he said, "I have a message for the President of the United States. With all due respect, sir, excuse my language, put on a fucking mask." And Bruce Springsteen don't swear often. That was his blunt message to the President of the United States.
Isn't that something?
Put on a effing mask. Okay. Well, it's kind of, for me, that's because, as I say, you don't hear Bruce Springsteen swearing. He's not, he doesn't swear.
I wouldn't go outside if I was in North America without a face mask or gloves on at all. And when we were in lockdown, when I was going to the supermarket, because you had to queue and line up, I was wearing gloves and a face mask.
Yeah. And I just run up to the, I get what I might call the corner store. It's on a ways down, but and I'm still wearing a face mask every day. If I I don't go there every day, but when I do go there, and I've noticed recently that it's not uncommon that I'm the only one, myself and the clerk, are the only ones wearing face masks. So.
Wow.
I wear one when I go to the supermarket. Wear a face mask. I don't wear gloves, but I gel them before I go, and I gel them when I come out. I've got some in my car.
Yes, I carry a sanitizer in my car.
Sanitizer, to make sure I'm not. And they wipe down all the trolleys and stuff. So, and I go at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and it's pretty clear. Then I can never mind 2 meters. I can keep 5 meters away from people for 90% of the time.
And I'm about due to go, but I go even earlier. They do some desanitizing in the stores.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to all stay healthy.
Awesome. And on that
stay
note,
at home and stay healthy, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Stay healthy.
Carlos,
thank you for having me again.
Carlos.
No problem. Look forward to having you next time, my friend. It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
Greatvannzinni, good to see you, man. I hope and glad you're well and safe.
Carlos next week. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very good.
And thanks to Arvin as well for dropping by. Arvin, stay safe and well, mate.
Yeah, Arvin and
good.
Kubrick.
And who else do we have? Kubrick lover as well. Kubrick, stay safe and well, Kubrick. Stay indoors. And Tubinin as well, Chad. Thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, Chad's gone to bed.
Good to see him. Yeah, well done. He's gone to bed. No blame.
Thanks for coming anyway.
I think that's everybody we had this morning. So thanks all for dropping by. It's been really good. And thanks for your contribution. Yeah, and we'll see Carlos next week.
Sounds
and
good.
subscribe to Greatvannzinni's channel. Bye-bye, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm off to look at Greatvannzinni's channel. A shame.
Don't spend too much time there.